it's me, Miss Aftan, the children's librarian here at the Alexander Hamilton Library, and today our story is all about a very special cactus who decides that maybe friendship is a good thing after all. Our story is called Nobody Hugs a Cactus by Carter Goodrich. Now, why do you think it might be true that nobody hugs a cactus? Let's look. Well, he is very, very spiky. Do you think it will feel nice to hug him, or would it hurt? Let's see. We have nobody hugs a cactus. So Hank lived in a pot. The pot sat in a window. The window looked out at the empty desert. It was hot, dry, peaceful, and quiet. Just the way Hank liked it. So if you look, there's nothing but Hank the cactus. But every now and then, somebody would interrupt Hank's peace and quiet. "Hi, Hank," said Rosie the tumbleweed. "Isn't it a beautiful day?" Hank ignored her. He just wanted to be left alone. "Okay, so long," said Rosie cheerfully as she tumbled away. Hank was happy again. But just as he was beginning to relax, "Hello!" shouted a tortoise. He sang hello. "Private property!" yelled Hank. "Keep out!" The tortoise was so frightened he hid in his shell. Hank was still yelling at the tortoise when a jackrabbit dashed by. "Hiya, Prickles!" she shouted. "My name isn't Prickles," Hank yelled back, "and stay out of my yard." "Tumbleweeds, tortoises, jackrabbits, what's next?" asked Hank. A coyote came loping by. "No dogs allowed," Hank yelled. "I'm not a dog," said the coyote, "and you are as prickly on the inside as you are on the outside." Before Hank could yell back at the coyote, a cowboy strode past. "Keep off the grass!" shouted Hank. "What grass?" said the cowboy. "Seems to me somebody needs a hug. Too bad nobody hugs a cactus." "Hi," said a lizard. "Who invited you?" asked Hank. "And just in case you're wondering, I don't want a hug." "That's good," said the lizard, "because I don't want to give you one." Then he skittered away. Owl landed on the roof. "If you're looking for a hug," said Hank, "well, I guess I could give you one." Is Hank starting to change his mind about the hugs? "Who, me?" said the owl. "You must be joking." And for the first time, Hank began to feel a little lonely. The next morning, Hank was feeling more sad on the inside than prickly. Maybe a hug wouldn't be so bad after all. The wind began to pick up. An old cup blew by and stuck to Hank's face. His arms were too short to get it off. "Great," said Hank. How do you think he feels now, with a cup stuck to his face and no one will give him a hug? After a while, Rosie came bouncing by. "I'll get it off you, Hank," she shouted, and she jumped up to knock the cup off of Hank's face. Then she tumbled away. Hank didn't have time to thank Rosie. He felt bad about all the other times he had been so rude to her. So he came up with a plan. What do you think he'll do to say thank you? He decided to grow the best flower he could and then give it to Rosie as a thank you gift. It took days, but at last it was ready. He couldn't wait for Rosie to pass by again. You see his flower, and what's that on Hank's face? That looks like a smile. When at last she finally did come bouncing back, Hank held out the flower. "Look, Rosie," he said, "I grew it just for you." Do you think she'll like his flower? Rosie was so surprised, she jumped up and gave Hank a great big hug. It felt so nice, Hank didn't want to let go. And as things turned out, he couldn't. Rosie and Hank had become stuck together. But they didn't care. After all, it's better to be stuck in a hug than stuck all alone. And that's the end of our story about how nobody hugs a cactus. But in this story, did Hank end up deciding that he wanted to hug? And then he found a special friend. So this is a really fun one to read together and enjoy as a family, and remember how important it is to have people in your life. And if you don't have anyone to share this story with, maybe now is a good time to find someone. So thanks for enjoying our story with us today, and we hope to see you soon. So have a nice day, everyone. See you later, friends.